everybody. Welcome to ICC's Game of the Week, with your host, as always, Joel Benjamin. The Olympiad is upon us again. I love the drama of who will take the medals in the end, but I also appreciate how all those grandmaster matchups will provide a number of exciting games and potential Game of the Week material. One of the best from the early rounds was a tactical slugfest in the Netherlands-Belarus match. Kirill Stupak risks playing with his king in the center, while Benjamin Bok, at the expense of some material, looked for ways to get at it and take it down. All right, let's get to it. Stupak against Bok. So we have a kind of Queen's Gambit, and a lot of players like to play the Nimzo Indian for black, but if the knight goes to f3, they have to make a choice: Bogo Indian, Queen's Indian, and often they go for a Queen's Gambit from that move order, or sometimes it's just a player that actually wants a type of Slav, as we see here. But a number of grandmasters go into the Slav via a Queen's Gambit decline move order, often to avoid the dryness of the Slav exchange variation if white decides to take on d5. With this move order, black can take back with the e-pawn and get a more interesting game. So this position that's been played tens of thousands of times, the main choice is between the move e3 and the move bishop g5 as played in the game. Both are very popular. And bishop g5 used to be most often answered by d takes c4, e4, and b5, which looks like a piece sacrifice, but it's not, because e5, h6, followed by g5. Very, very sharp position, but Vinnik variation. But there's the other move here, h6, and now Stupak takes a knight, which was routine for many years, but a few years ago there was a stretch where bishop h4 was in tremendous vogue, and this, as opposed to the Botvinnik variation, white is just outright sacrificing a pawn as black gets this in before e5, and so on. And there were many very high level games. Probably there were a few appeared on Game of the Week, but that craze has kind of died down a little bit for whatever reason. So Stupak takes the knight. All right, so here white gives the bishop pair, but gains some time. Okay, of course, being white to begin with, but black takes with the queen. The queen is not the piece that you really want to lead your development with. And so white already has two minor pieces and a move. Okay, so here we see kind of a little unusual business here, because white moves his e-pawn to e3, and then he moves it to e4 next move. Well, it's possible to play e4 right away, but then black will trade, like in the game, and play bishop b4 check. And this actually is the line. King e2, white accepts the king in the center to try to gain space, and then usually queen f4. But in general, white's results have not been all that impressive. So generally, white will wait with e3. I mean, there are other moves too, like queen b3, for instance. And now black has a choice as well. Knight d7 here is very flexible, but in general, over the last several years, there has been a trend towards playing with the fianchetto with g6. Black could wait with knight d7 first and then play g6. But this way of playing seems to have kind of surpassed the old school way of playing, of putting the bishop on d6. And the idea is that even though black spends an extra tempo to put the bishop on the long diagonal, it will be very ready for white playing in the center.